Why do you guys feel like the only leafy green that you can eat is lettuce?
Also, lettuce is like nothing.
It's like it's mostly
It's like
water.
Yeah. Show some spinach
Guys.
Throw some cucumber. Show some broccoli if you're brave.
Arugula.
Arugula.
Of who I've killed. I hate this car that I'm driving. There's no hiding for me.
I'm forced to deal with
what I feel. There's no distraction. Ask what is real. Pull the steering wheel. All right. We live?
Yes. However, I am so much closer to the middle than you are.
Yeah, get away.
That's just the way I'm sitting.
Yeah, I think if you turn your body a little bit more, your head will be
like this.
Yeah,
we're so far away.
That's okay. Feels nice. I can breathe.
We'll have to at the end here scooch in for a photo because last time I had to Photoshop and somebody called us out and
yeah,
it was pretty bad. So
it's okay. You could just cut down the middle.
That'd be even more noticeable.
Just slice it.
It was just the coffee mug that it was the Photoshop.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's just like it seemed like it auto grabbed it.
Not perfect. It could not tell what was a reflection and what was real. Like most of us. We're live.
All right.
Episode 14.
Yeah. Welcome back, everybody.
Equal parts. Episode 14.
It's a big one.
It's a big one. Yeah.
About as big as every other one has been. But that doesn't make it less big.
Yeah. What he said.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you remember when you turned 14? I don't really.
I remember when I turned 13.
Yep. I remember that more distinctly than 14.
Yeah. Well, 13 was like, you're a teenager now, you know? 14 was
exactly.
like, you've been here for a year.
Yep.
You know, what else is new?
It didn't really mean it a lot.
I also got like my first like legitimate bike. Like a real like mountain bike when I turned 13, I believe.
Okay.
Actually got out in Utah.
Nice.
Surprisingly enough, but it was sweet. Rode it on some
in Utah.
Yeah, we were.
Was that when you guys were on your road trip?
No, not that.
How old were you then?
Hold on, actually, I might be getting my years confused. That might have been my 12th birthday, actually.
When what?
When I got the bike. It was the year following that we had our trip. I remember when we went on the trip, I was 12. When we came back, I was 13.
Wow.
It's crazy. Wow,
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. All right, let's have some of this coffee.
What are we drinking?
We are drinking the Colombia Finca Juan Martin. Shout out Ben Martin. Same last name.
Both cool cats.
Real. I don't know this guy, but the coffee's good.
The farm is named after him. When I looked into this coffee, I don't know whether or not this guy is no longer around or is not part of the farm, but all I knew is that the farm was named after him and that he was not actively involved in this coffee anymore.
Oh, interesting. Least. Okay, so it's not the farmer.
No, it's just the name
of the farm. It's like the legacy, like his legacy of
Finca
Juan Martin.
Farm.
Yep.
Juan Martin.
Yeah.
We got notes of amaretto, caramel, and berry on this bad boy.
Yeah, this one's a gesha, but I feel like different from other geshas. I feel like they tend to be very floral. This one isn't super floral. It's more, if there is a florality, it's more of like a rose.
Sure.
But it's a lot richer.
Yeah. So this morning, I was actually drinking some of this because I couldn't wait for you. I was drinking some of this coffee, and I had ate breakfast. It was a good like potato, egg hash. It was great. Bell peppers. It was amazing.
Nice.
And I taste this coffee right after I eat it, which is always a bad idea. You know, you're not able to fully experience a coffee. But when I tasted it, it was straight up wildflower honey. Like it wasn't just regular honey. It was specifically wildflower honey. Like there was one time that I had somebody from, oh my gosh, what's the honey place that we get
Hilbert's honey.
Hilbert's honey. They had brought me in some honey to try. We were using I think just regular store brand honey at that time. They had so kindly brought me some different samples of honey to try. Honeycomb, just honey sticks. And it was just so distinct, that flavor of that wildflower honey, that it just had so much uniqueness to it. It was very, the honey itself was very floral, which is very good. And that's what I tasted this morning when I tasted this coffee. It was purely sweet wildflower honey. It was so good.
I feel like Hilbert's honey it's so good.
It is,
and it's so
good.
Distinct from other honeys I have. Even other local honey, it's better.
Yeah.
Like I really haven't had a honey that I like as much. And I notice when a coffee has that kind of floral honey nature, I taste it and I think of Hilbert's. There's a coffee I had. I think it was the Colombia Juan Jimenez from last year, around this time, April, I think, of last year at Onyx Coffee Lab.
Nice.
They had that, and it was just smooth and rich, and then it had that floral wildflower honey taste in it, and it was really, really good.
Yeah, I remember when I first had the Hilbert's honey, when they first told me they were going to bring some samples, I was like, all right, just another honey company, just want me to use their honey.
Big honey.
And I was like, I love the one thing that really had me hooked is I love using local products because, I mean, just highlighting the hard work of people around us is just such a great idea. So I was like, all right, that's great, but what makes us stand out? But when I tried it, I was like, holy crap. I don't know if you know this about me. I don't really like honey necessarily, but this honey stood out to me. Very delicious.
Yeah, it's fire. So, it's fire honey.
Yeah. I'm not a honey hater. It's just...
You had too many peanut butter and honeys
on
your road trip. No, that's what you have said to me.
I don't remember it.
You've said that to me.
Trauma blocking, maybe? Yeah, I don't know.
I guess so.
Yeah.
But you told me that for a long time. You'd always say, sorry, I had too many peanut butter and honeys.
I guess
I guess so. I think that Grace says that too. Because Grace doesn't really like honey, does she?
You know?
You gonna start a timer?
I don't know.
Good call.
Am I my sister's keeper?
See, I think so. I think in part, I think that's originally said in a somewhat negative context. Not gonna lie, but all right. So you had some notes written down for this show.
Yes,
so what are we talking about?
So we were talking about anything and everything. You know, kind of running out of ideas here. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So let's
caught me off guard with that one.
Let's start out with a little bit of fun game. Two Truths and a Lie Specialty Coffee Edition, or just Coffee Edition, based on what you came up with. So, tell me 2 truths and a lie about you.
All right. I'm gonna have to get my phone out for this.
Oh boy, look at this guy.
Really hard.
Always on his phone.
This always. You wouldn't believe it.
Nick has a really hard time lying, so that's why it's really hard for him.
Not necessarily. I mean, not that I have a hard time doing it. I just don't really need to. I don't know if I'm feeling inclined to.
Yeah. That's real.
But it's hard for me not to come up with a lie or a falsity, but just to think of interesting things about myself. That's why these are difficult.
Yeah.
And these are probably not even interesting.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Hey, let us know. If this is interesting, give us a like. Smash that subscribe button.
All right. Here are my 3.
All right.
I have over 10 coffee brewing devices at home. The most expensive cup of coffee I've had was $10. And I think macchiatos are overrated.
Ooh, shoot. All right. So come and swing with the hot take. Maybe truth, maybe lie here. All right. So 10 different brewing equipments at home. Or brewing devices.
I have over 10.
Over 10. Okay, so knowing Nick, that seems pretty believable to me. You know, you've got your espresso machine. You probably have at least, I know you have an AeroPress. Probably, you have a X brewer or XF brewer, one of those. Did I already say espresso machine? Yeah. AeroPress. That could easily be over 10. So I'm going to say that's a truth. And then, what was the second one you said?
Second one was the most expensive cup of coffee I've had was $10.
$10. I mean, that seems reasonable.
This isn't like we're saying highest I've paid for a cup, because we know at Expo we had that Eugenioides, which was what, $7?
Yeah, I don't know.
But that was for a smaller cup too.
Yes,
so
true.
So
$10. The Expo tax on that one.
Yeah. Well, I think that one. That one was just a smaller thing. So maybe not the highest value coffee I've had, but the most expensive cup of coffee.
Yeah, because that one you didn't pay over 10.
Yeah.
But it could have been.
But it was also
more
like 6 ounces.
Okay, so yeah. So $10 seems believable, but that's maybe making me think otherwise because it seems almost too believable in a way. I'm just getting in my own head here. And then what was the third one again?
Third one was, I think macchiatos are overrated.
You think macchiatos are overrated? That seems something that just kind of goes against who you are as a person. But I know you like one-on-ones, but that wouldn't go as far as to say that their macchiatos themselves are overrated. But that almost seems like you're trying to bait me into thinking that's a lie, even though it's the truth. I'm gonna say that you've paid over $10 for coffee. That's the lie.
Okay. In that I do think macchiatos are overrated.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right on all of those.
All
actually.
right. Okay.
I tried to make it difficult, but it didn't work.
Man. So tell me. Expand upon this.
I have 11 brewers at home.
Okay.
But according to my calculations this afternoon.
All right. That works out for you.
And yeah, I've given some away. I just gave AJ my third AeroPress.
This guy.
Okay, so I've got like a V60, a Kalita, an Oria V4, a Stag XF. I used to also have Stag X. Gave that away.
Do you really count that as a separate brewer, though?
I used to have 2, maybe 3 Kalitas.
Okay.
Heck, I might still have 2 Kalitas. I might have miscounted.
It's crazy.
I'd have to look through. I've got a Normcore pour-over brewer. I haven't used that in a long time. Wow. Yeah. I have 2 AeroPresses, an AeroPress Clear and an AeroPress Go. I've got a Jogo. It's like a straw with a filter on the end. I've got a mini Presso. It's a travel espresso maker.
Yeah. Have you used it at all? Good experience with
just
it?
A little bit. I think that like with a little, the hard thing is like espresso is so volatile to like get it good.
Yeah.
That like you have to be
Yeah.
particular.
What's
so
the
I would
best
want to test it.
Use case for that, you think? Because I think of a lot of travel, but it seems very finicky.
I think if you're dealing with a darker roasted coffee, that's just easier to extract. You can probably get a somewhat consistent thing from it.
Okay.
I haven't really tried with lighter coffee.
And how do you grind coffee for that? You just
you'd probably have to have a hand grinder or like
espresso size.
Yeah, I mean that's not.
Yeah, no, I mean it just would take a while, but yeah.
Yep. So I have that. I have my OXO batch brewer. And then my Gesha espresso machine.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. So you're saying you do have 11 right now, or you used?
I have 11 according to my calculations.
Okay.
Right now,
will have had more than that.
I've definitely have had more than that.
Cool. How many do I have? I'm thinking I've got the Aiden. I've got the espresso machine. I've got the Aiden espresso machine. I've got the
XF.
XF.
Do you have the X?
Kalita? No, I do not have the X.
Kalita.
AeroPress. I think that's it.
5.
I used to have a V60, but I gave it to a friend.
Mistake.
Well, it was like the Chemex looking V60. It was very small.
Oh.
I don't really like it. I want a ceramic one if I get another one.
I want more brewers, honestly. I really want, there's a new Oria brewer.
This guy.
Shout out Oria. If you want to send us your Z1, I would love to test it. And I'll hype it up like crazy.
Yeah.
As long as it's good.
Yeah.
But
we're not out here giving out free handouts.
No, but it looks great. So if you did want to send us one, I'd use that. I want one of those, and I want a smaller V60.
A smaller V60.
Yeah.
Do you have like the standard size?
Yeah. I just find that I want to make smaller and smaller pour overs.
But it's a cone though. You don't think you can just make a smaller size in there? What's the issue?
I could.
Just like you want appropriate sized vessel.
Well, part of it is when you get so small, because of the height of the brewer, you can't actually get close enough to the bed.
Sure.
And I like to get as close as I can to pour very gently and minimal extraction. So a melodrip would solve that problem too.
Do they adjust the steepness of the angle for the smaller brewers, or do they even make smaller brewers?
They do, and I think they might adjust the steepness, but I don't think so.
That would, if it was more shallow of an angle, then that would change your brewing.
It would.
So,
yeah. So I have all those.
Cool.
The most expensive coffee I've had was more than $10.
Okay.
I was like racking my brain.
Probably like $10.50.
I was trying to figure it out how much it actually was, because it was like 2 years ago at Corvus Coffee.
Okay.
It was at least $12, but I believe that it was closer to $18. for a pour over. But
Okay.
I just can't remember, so I shot low just so that I didn't have
Yeah.
to lie. But
Yeah.
it was between 12 and 18, which is a huge range. But I
Yeah.
think it was about $18.
Okay.
It was like one of the geshas. Do you remember when I went there a couple years ago and we bought those tins and we split them up?
Yes.
Remember those like $60 tins?
Yeah.
It was a pour over of one of those
Okay,
coffees
cool.
at the location.
Sweet. Yeah, we haven't
Spaz.
had. Have we had Corvus on? We have had one.
We
time.
have. Yep.
Once.
Haven't one. We'll have to get some more.
Get some more.
They've always got
Hey,
great coffees.
Shout out Corvus. Send us a
Seriously.
bag. If you got anything you're excited about, I've seen you guys dropping a lot of limited edition or limited releases all the time. So
Yeah.
if you got something you're excited about, send it our way.
Yeah, and they won some design awards too for their bags.
Yeah.
Their bags are awesome. You guys
Heck
should definitely
yeah.
check them out.
Heck yeah.
And then I do kind of think macchiatos are overrated because
Tell us why,
I'll
Nick.
tell you why. Because it's like, why do you want just a little bit of milk? Honestly, it's like just enough to where it's like I would rather drink the espresso or I'd rather have a cortado.
So let me tell you why you're wrong. I think that different coffees require different amounts of, or can require different amounts of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still be given the same experience. Like maybe you can have a washed Kenyan that tastes better as a macchiato, and then you have like a natural Ethiopian that tastes better as a cortado because of the strength and intensity of the coffee itself.
Sure. The thing is, like, for me, I really like straight espresso. So most of the time I'll just have it that way.
Yeah.
If I want a milk drink, I'm going to get it like a cortado.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
so like that in between that feels like a macchiato is like kind of that in between. It just doesn't really make sense.
Yep.
For the most part.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's fine if you like them.
I feel
But
like
I think that both versions too are overrated, especially like the
I'm
Starbucks
kinda the
macchiatos.
same.
It's
I'm
just a
just-
latte, folks.
I'm just playing the devil's advocate here
Yeah,
because
it's okay.
I don't really drink macchiatos. It's just like you. I just drink either a straight espresso or a cortado.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I do think they're good.
I wouldn't
I
call
really-
them out like that, but you might be right. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
Let us know.
Especially like a super traditional macchiato. That doesn't make any sense to me. Just a shot of espresso with just like a dollop of really foamy milk on it.
Yeah.
That just sounds like kind of ruining a shot of espresso.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Have you ever done any sort of experimentation, like putting anything in your portafilter with your coffee besides just coffee?
I have.
What have you done?
What
What have you done?
have you done? So you know that thing that's going around? I think it's a Cafe Cubano. It's brown
yeah.
sugar.
You done that?
I've tried it.
You're not worried like it's gonna like mess with your machine at all?
I cleaned it after
Sure.
because just so you guys know, a lot of machines, not 100% of them, but a lot of machines will, when you turn it off, there's obviously pressure in that portafilter, and that'll dissipate backwards into your machine, out your backflow valve.
Yeah.
And there's some overlap there between the backflow valve and where your fresh water is coming through. And so if stuff does get back there, which it does, it should be cleaned, especially if you're right, like there's sugar or something that'll like ruin it.
Yeah.
So be aware of that. I tried it. It was gross. Didn't
Yeah.
like it. It's like a huge thing. It's like this just tastes like sugar and horribly extracted espresso.
I don't get the reason behind it because you're not gonna extract sugar, and
No,
it's
you're
not
just
gonna
melting it.
change the extraction of your espresso. So, if anything, it's making the extraction worse.
Yes.
While also
It's
adding less of the sugar because you're still gonna have sugar left over in your portafilter.
yeah, but it's worsening the extraction,
Yeah.
and it's also that sugar's dissolving and weakening the integrity of your puck.
Yeah.
Like
It's a
as
different
that's
consistency.
going, there's more and more room that's ending up in the portafilter.
Yeah.
It's a terrible
It's
idea.
the same
all
reason
around.
why you want
It's
to
not
have
good.
a super consistent grind size. You want everything to be the same in there
Yeah.
because it is already so turbulent in there. You don't need to add unnecessary variables. So
Yeah. If you really want to have some brown sugar in your shot, which I don't think is good, add it after.
yeah, your hot espresso is gonna melt it, and you stir it. And if that's your jam, then go right ahead. But
Yeah.
don't be adding it to your portafilters.
Don't ruin your machines, folks.
No. Yeah. I mean, it might be fine. That's I feel like that's the one place where we draw the line at our cafes is adding things to the portafilter or
Yeah.
anything that's going to potentially affect the next person's shot. If someone wants to bring in their own sugar and add it at the bottom of their cup, that's fine because it's not going to affect anybody else's drinks. But as soon as you're putting sugar in that portafilter, then who knows what the next shot's going to be like. Same thing with like people bringing in milk from off the street. That's even then, it's a little questionable as whether or not that's allowed in as far as health reasons go.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I've also seen people like mix spices or that kind of stuff into their extraction, into their shot.
Yeah.
And it like just, I don't really get that.
No,
it's like just add it after.
I kind
always.
of see. I think that might be okay to do that if you're doing a pour over because it's not as volatile.
Yeah.
But even then, like, can you not just add it after?
The integrity and like solidness of the tamping of your puck is super important to even extraction. To where if you're introducing anything in there that's going to dissolve or move or mess with the water flow at all, you're like ruining that shot.
Yep. Don't do it, folks.
Why?
Don't do it.
Always add it after.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to hear yours.
All right. So, 2 truths and a lie.
Okay.
I've never had an Americano. I've never brewed coffee without a scale. And I've steamed skim milk and oat milk together.
Okay.
What do you think?
Never had an Americano.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's true. Because
You know my opinion on them.
know your opinion on it, and I'm pretty sure that it's one of those opinions that just you pulled out of thin air, and it's just like, I'd never had it. Okay.
Not the thin air, but...
This is funny. So your brother Ben, just yesterday afternoon, had something.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Shout
oh,
out
do you
Ben.
like that? Shout out Ben. I was like, oh, do you like that? And he's like, no. I was like, how do you know? He's like, because I've never had it. That's what he said. And if that doesn't encapsulate so many of your guys' opinions, like an Americano.
But
Jack doesn't like it, and he knows it because he's never had it. That's what I think.
All right.
You can defend yourself later. Second one, never. I actually know the answer. So what's the third one again?
I've steamed skim milk and oat milk together.
I believe that. Customers ask for weird stuff.
True.
I can see that. Now, I did go backpacking with you, and I know that you guys have brewed coffee without a scale because I was confused and bothered by the way that we made coffee. So, and this is just a me thing because I'm so particular. But like if I'm going backpacking,
Do you bring a scale?
I weigh out the whole beans at home for the dose that I want to do. So like say it's 25 grams, 20 grams.
Do you separate them in little baggies if you're going on more than
separate them in little
that's extra weight right there.
bags.
No.
Okay, I'm separating that out.
All right, sure.
Already weighed out. It's ready to go.
Why not?
And water you can do by volume. It's a lot more consistent. So you don't have to worry about that. So I will separate that weighed out coffee into everything. It'll go into the breakfast bag, which goes into the food bag. And it's there. It's ready to go.
Yeah.
When we went backpacking for your bachelor party, it was a big. You guys grabbed like a big Ziploc bag of coffee and just kind of eyeballed it.
Yep.
Which was fine. It was decent, but that's not the way that I would have done it. And so I remember
I forgot about that backpacking as far as coffee goes because I wasn't thinking of.
You weren't really involved in the planning. That was more of an Adam call. Shout out Adam.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. I'm not bringing a scale. I'm also. I feel like I'm good enough at eyeballing coffee where I don't need to separate in baggies.
No, it wasn't like, oh, this coffee's disgusting. Like we've had a lot of coffee, and so we can
and
know
it was
how it fits.
AeroPress, right? So
yeah, it's more forgiving.
You have a lot of room for air.
Yeah,
there,
that's just me being super particular.
Yeah,
and I really like to plan out that stuff with backpacking.
So you think that's lie?
I think that's the lie, and I know it's a lie because I've.
Well, you got me
seen it
there.
done.
So yes, I have never had an Americano. Partially due to that reason, and to me, it's more of a principle thing rather than of like, I've never had it, it's not good. You know, it's just like,
I understand it.
How many years of work and how many like people's lives have been dedicated to the art and craft of espresso that you are now just ruining by adding, and I say this with my whole heart, you are ruining it with your hot water because there are 1,000,001 ways to make a good cup of black coffee, pour over, even home brewer, whatever you want to do, French press, heck, whatever. And that's fine. You can make a bad cup of coffee any way you like. But to take the hard work that's been put into espresso and to ruin it for your Americano, it's just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why? That's such a good thing, and you're making it to something it's not supposed to be.
I will say a 12-ounce Americano with a double shot of espresso is a terrible ratio. It is way too much water. Every once in a while, the right coffee, like 6 ounces or less, that could be nice.
Yeah,
but
maybe.
But the way that most people experience an Americano is really not very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like extremely hot, like beyond tasteability and extremely watery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, if you want a smaller coffee, like you're saying, a 6 ounce, 8 ounce, whatever it is, just make like an AeroPress or make something. Adjust your water ratios to something else. But it's how much work that goes into espresso to make something that small have that much flavor packed into it. Whereas you can add milk to that to make a cortado, cappuccino. Like, there is no other way to make a beverage that creamy and full of flavor other than espresso. Just because you have the amount of pressure involved in creating that espresso, there's no other way to do it. You're like you're taking like a cup of black coffee, and instead of the milk you use to make it, you're using milk, or instead of the water you use to make it, you're using milk instead, which is in turn a very creamy beverage.
Yeah. The way I think about like a short Americano is similar to like an AeroPress. How we do an AeroPress, right? Like we make the AeroPress and then we add bypass. Yeah. Right. And it's less than, like, it's not very much. Yeah. And so like sometimes with the right coffee, I think stretching it out a little bit.
I'm not making an argument against bypass because I think bypass is great, but I just think that like an AeroPress is made for that sort of thing. Yeah. Espresso is not. So, but whatever. I'm not gonna fight people over this.
You can make a bad cup of coffee however you want.
Yeah, that's true. I've just,
Jack.
I have never had one this far, and I don't plan to have one because I don't think will ever be better than a black cup of coffee. And even if it is, it goes against all I stand for. So
that's fair. I would never probably say, I want to see how good this coffee is. Let me make a short Americano.
Yeah.
That's probably, it's not the best way to have it, I think.
And when I was talking about I've never brewed coffee without a scale, I completely forgot about backpacking because you never bring scales. That's just the one thing you don't need. Like,
was that your lie though? Was that planned to be your lie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. No, I knew it was a lie. I had a really hard time coming up with lies because I feel like I had another one, but you would have known it was a lie. I don't remember what it was now. It was like,
that's what was hard for me. Is like there's a handful of things that I think Jack just already knows.
Yeah, it's like we've known each other since we were wee lads. So
as wee as it can get.
As wee as it can get. All right. Well, yeah. So when I meant I never brewed coffee without a scale, I was thinking more of I've done that for photos, videos, because the scale just kind of messes with the shot sometimes. So I brew without a scale.
Sometimes your scales are just ugly.
Yeah, real. But I've done it, and I've actually eyeballed it because I want to drink the coffee ever, and it tastes great. So I'm pretty good at this point. You get to a point where you're making enough coffee where you can get pretty consistent at it. But I wouldn't recommend it. Make a coffee with scales. But if for some reason, you don't want to pack the extra scale on your luggage, or you're going backpacking and you don't need that extra weight, you can make it without a scale.
Pre-weigh it out. That's my vote.
You can, yeah. I mean, why not? Doesn't seem that hard to do to pre-weigh it out.
When I'm backpacking, circling back to my Jogo, that's one of the things that I have. I got that, and it's a straw. It's like inspired by that like what's that like tea from Argentina? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Where you like have the tea in the cup and you add water. You guys know what I'm talking about. And the straw, isn't it? Yerba mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like inspired by that. And basically filtering the coffee as you're drinking it.
Interesting.
And it's not terrible. The only thing is that coffee continues to extract. But I was testing it because when I like go backpacking, I find it fun to minimize what I'm carrying as much as possible. Some call that being a gram weenie. But grams turn into pounds.
I'm going to call you a gram weenie from now on.
So I was testing it because it's really small. It's just like a little straw, smaller than an AeroPress. Yeah. The AeroPress is like 7 ounces. And
in total weight?
Yeah, in total weight. And that's what I'm leaving the cup. I've already got 1 cup for everything. So I'm leaving the cup. I'm leaving the stir stick. I'm leaving all that stuff.
You're leaving the cup? What? Oh, you bring
the external cup of the AeroPress Go.
Is the aluminum cup lighter than the plastic cup?
No, but I use that as my one cup.
Why that over the AeroPress cup?
Well, because I can heat it.
True. Yeah, you can't heat plastic without it melting. So
that's true.
Clutch.
Unless it's in the microwave.
Yeah,
hey,
I'm not
microwave your plastic, people. They're lying to you to keep you from reaching your full potential. The government doesn't want you to microwave your plastic because they know what it will do to your mind and will give you superpowers.
Careful, they're watching us. I heard some birds out recently, so there's just like I'm pretty sure the ground squirrels around the house are government spies because they get really close
to the house.
Yeah, they're in the walls. Yeah, like seriously.
It's probably because they're listening, not because it's just warm and dry in there.
No, some are out.
But yeah, I have that because I tested it, and yeah, it's not bad. Like right near the middle of your drinking experience is when your coffee's best, and then it starts to get really over extracted.
Yeah. You said that was inspired by yerba mate. Is it like a culture thing anywhere, or is it like starting in America?
It's
like
just
still be a culture thing.
It's just a company that was like that liked the idea and wanted to create something that made it very easy
for sure
to drink coffee, because all you need is ground coffee,
real,
a cup and hot water, and then the straw. So it works.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I should have known this is very believable. If you guys have been in the food service industry, you know that people want what they want. So I have steamed skim milk and oat milk together. It's very weird. I was trying to wrap my head around why you would want that, because what part of the oat milk do you want? I know a lot of people get oat milk because
maybe they want seed oils.
I suppose. They're like, but they also want the dairy?
Like, I want dairy, but I don't
want the fats of the dairy.
It makes me sad that I'm not going to be able to have some seed oils as well. And so they're like, can you throw some seed oils in that?
Yeah, it's literally like, let's take the natural fats from whole milk, but no, let's do skim milk, but replace the fats with seed oils instead. That sounds like a great idea. I don't understand why they wanted that. I've, to this day, been still trying to wrap my head around why, but
bet they got it extra hot too.
I don't remember. It's been so long. But I made it because I was like, why not? Well, I mean, I can make this, you know. It might bother my conscience, but I'll be fine. So, yeah, I made that. And I've never tried it. That's another thing that I probably won't try because it goes against what I stand for. I'll make it for people. Like, I'll make people Americanos. I won't say a word. That's just it's not my place, you know. I'm not going to tell people that your drink's bad. I'm not going to tell people that your decaf shot and your matcha is going to taste horrible. Unless they're asking me, because I know that it tastes horrible. That's one thing I did try.
Wait, a decaf shot in a matcha?
Somebody ordered a matcha with a double shot of decaf espresso in it. That's like I don't know why these things happen. And I understand that people want what they want, and there's reasons for a lot of them. But every once in a while, you get somebody who asks for something that you just cannot wrap your mind around why they would want that. Like decaf in your matcha, it's not for the added caffeine because there's hardly any caffeine in decaf. So
that's like an insult to a lot of people.
Yeah.
To like ruin their passion and hard work.
And
like,
guess what?
A lot of people from all around the world
got it twice. She came back and got it again. She liked it so much.
Like, that sucked. Give me another one.
Because I don't agree with it, but I understand the double shot of regular espresso because you want a little kick. I just get a triple shot latte or something. I don't know, but whatever. So you do you. It's like a weird puke green color too when it comes out, and I know that both versions. I've tried both versions. They're gross, but I can understand the caffeine need. I need it sometimes too. Not that bad, of course, but the decaf.
Yeah.
I can't.
Maybe we should do that sometime. Maybe we should have an episode where we try all of these drinks that we think are terrible and just try them all. So leave a comment if you want us to do that.
To try an Americano?
We're willing. Yeah, Jack will try an Americano if we get enough comments.
I would sooner die than...
That's crazy.
Not rather. Sooner.
Sooner or later, I will die.
Won't we all? This took a dark turn. All right. Well, let's see. Did you hear, this is a small thing, I'm doing a bunch of weird stuff over here, that the C market is being phased out. I didn't really understand what this meant, but if you guys know, the C market is a price that's negotiated, or negotiated might not be the right word,
Determined?
Determined in the New York Stock Exchange for the coffee futures market, what coffee is worth. Because farmers have to kind of know what their coffee is going to be worth in the future when they plan on buying
as a baseline.
it. Yeah, they have to know like what their coffee is worth, how much this many crops they're planting will be worth when they're ready to be harvested.
Yeah, and for the longest time, right, that C market really only affects consumer level coffee, right? Like what large companies are buying from large farms, and really has not had an impact on the specialty coffee market.
I mean, I would say it's had an impact, but it's not directly correlated.
Yeah, because the specialty coffee market is in large part determining their prices that are far above the C market price.
Yes, exactly.
And are determined by a lot of other factors that stock exchange is not valuing.
Yeah.
But with recent, the C market price has gone up, and so that has elevated the value of coffee everywhere, even in the specialty market.
Yeah, yeah. And it's gotten out, like, I think, to 2010s for a while, it was around $2 a pound. It has its ups and downs, and then I think it was during COVID, it dipped below $1, which was crazy. Can you think about like commodity price for coffee? This is what Starbucks, this is what Maxwell House, Folgers, this is what they are paying for their coffee, because that's the minimum that they can pay and get away with it, essentially. Because they're buying such large volumes of coffee, they're getting it at a better price. Whereas smaller roasters have to pay a higher price because, well, for one, they're getting higher quality coffee and they're buying a smaller volume.
Higher quality coffee, smaller farms. Transportation is a huge cost associated with coffee.
Yeah.
And so if you're buying it by the shipping container load, it's a lot cheaper per pound than to be buying it in 60 kilo jute
which
bags.
is why like Brazil is the number one coffee exporter in the world, because they're one of the only countries that utilizes mechanized harvesting. Most countries pick their coffee cherries by hand, which is very time consuming. And if they're all, because it's grown at higher elevations, you really can't get heavy machinery up there. You got a lot of small micro lot farms that you have to like separately ship to the processing station, and then from there ship it to the port, where then you're going to ship it to wherever it's going, United States.
Well, from the port, probably to a warehouse in the United States, from the warehouse to the roastery. And so like there's a lot of connections. And
there's a lot of little costs that it's hard to think about.
Air, land, and sea.
When you are buying your cup of coffee. That's another crazy thing, is that how cheap coffee has been for so long. That it's normal to buy $1 cup of coffee or get a bag of coffee at the grocery store for under $10 is crazy. That like all of that, can be paid for, and then you can enjoy it for this very, very low price, which a lot of it is unsustainable, of course, at that price point. That's why there's been a rise in specialty coffee, because people are like getting more and more wanting to know more of what's going on behind the scenes. Be like, okay, I'm enjoying this cup of coffee. Like, what, is everyone being paid for what they are doing, or is someone potentially being taken advantage of, which does happen. So
that's the hard thing, is that a lot of people don't recognize that it's not just unsustainable on the part of the cafe, right? Coffee in a cafe, especially a specialty cafe, has very low margins. Right? Like, you have to pay your employees to where they can eat and afford rent and all of that stuff. Okay. But outside of that, part of the unsustainability of the system is, for so long, for decades, so many farmers have been taken advantage of by people trying to just get a good deal. Trying to just see how low they can get it for. And there are a lot of farmers, like, these are small family farms in third world countries. And a lot of the time, they don't necessarily have a system for determining the value of their coffee.
Yeah.
They grew it, and they don't know how much it costs them to grow it necessarily, but they're just trying to see, hey, how much can I get for this? And basically just whoever's going to pay them the most, they'll give it to. And oftentimes it's still not enough to cover the costs.
Yeah.
And so generationally, like we see there has been more and more young people whose family own farms, and they're not interested in coffee.
Yeah.
It's never, right? They grew up never having the things that they wanted to have, right? They've seen their parents struggle for years trying to make ends meet farming coffee. And they're like, why would I want to do that?
Yeah. Because specialty coffee is a very small percentage of the coffee grown worldwide. So maybe if you potentially grow high quality coffee, which could take years to develop, you can get a much more livable wage from the coffee that you're growing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's not the case.
Mm-hmm. And that's the hard thing is people don't see that. They don't see it as, in a lot of areas, people are okay with unsustainability as long as it's far enough away from them, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if it were possible to stay where we're at with coffee, right? If you could still get a cup of coffee, for just a few dollars, for, a long time, you would just see what would happen as a result is there would just be less and less coffee, people farming coffee, right? The coffee production side of things would shrink.
Yeah.
And then that would drive up the price. So either we pay more for coffee now because we value it more. We recognize the value of getting the roasted seed of a tropical fruit in a really high quality way to northern Michigan. Yeah. Right? Or we wait and we continue to take advantage of people and we continue to feed into this unsustainable process. And after enough people are hurt, then the cost of coffee will go up because there's not enough people growing it.
At that point, coffee will become this ultra high-end luxury thing that only the richest of the rich will enjoy because it's just not available for everyone. Mm-hmm. There's not enough farmers to grow coffee. There's not enough coffee for everyone, which would be an incredibly sad thing to see because coffee has been a community bonding beverage for hundreds of years. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the price of coffee would be driven by scarcity rather than quality.
Yes, because that both quality would drop while the price increases dramatically. Because you're only getting the coffee because it's available, not because it's such a high quality thing. Which is the cool thing about the rise of specialty coffee, and it's twofold in a way. Because for one, you're paying higher price for coffee, so you want to know why you are. So there's increased transparency. With increased transparency, you get to see that, okay, it does seem like that if I don't pay this higher price for this coffee, that other coffees are not as sustainable for most people. So I think specialty coffee has always been and is always a great thing for just increased awareness of what is going on the other end of your supply chain when it comes to coffee. Yeah.
And so that's why, like, to get back to what we were talking about, why moving away from the C market makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Because it's not coffee is more nuanced than something like corn, right? Yeah. The stock market can determine the value of corn because corn is, for the most part, corn, right? Like, obviously there is room in there for higher quality versions of that crop. Yeah. But coffee is not just something that can just kind of be used as is. And the cost of coffee shouldn't be driven by what the stock market values at, but what individuals are willing to pay. Yeah. And what individuals are willing to pay should be determined by the quality and everything for that, right? Yeah. And so, do you have more information about why it's moving away?
So I looked into it a little bit, and it's not necessarily like we are moving away from C market. I think that they've actually stopped. They're writing contracts for future coffees up until 2028, and after that, they're moving towards a different.
Who's they?
Let me look it up here. It was Intercontinental Exchange. Yep. It's phasing out its current U.S. cents per pound benchmark for the Arabica coffee trade, known as the C price. So they're pausing listing of new contract months, with March 2028 being the final date listed for Arabica futures contracts. So they are moving away from it, but it's not necessarily changing as drastically as maybe we thought.
It'll take time.
Yeah, it's moving to just a different way of categorizing it. But I think that this could be kind of like the, with the increased coffee prices globally and the increased transparency of coffees and moving away from the C price, whatever I said. C market, yeah. Could be like the catalyst for real change in the coffee market. More people are understanding the value of coffee and understanding why it can't be this homogenized commodity that it has been for so long. But
yeah, it's just interesting because people just don't see coffee in that light at all, right? Like it should be something that's cheap and
well, it doesn't
a utility.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be extremely expensive.
Yeah,
it can still be approachable and available for everyone. You can still have your extremely micro lots or extremely high-priced micro lots that are just doing above and beyond what coffee is doing, while still having the majority of coffee being available for most people to purchase and enjoy. Because I don't think that should be taken away from everyone. But because if you do increase the price of coffee, if you keep going up and up in price, then eventually people will just stop buying it and move towards something else.
Mm-hmm. But it's so interesting to me that, you can go to a bar and you can pay $12 for 2 ounces of bourbon. That in serving it takes very little effort. Yeah. You kind of, not to diminish work of bartenders and stuff, but serving bourbon is a simpler process to enjoy it rather than coffee, right? Like in order to get the peak use of coffee, right, that is very sensitive. Yeah. And so it's just so interesting that people would pay $8 or $12 for that. And that's probably, maybe a $50 bottle of bourbon. When to get like an $8 or $12 shot of espresso is just, mind blowing. Yeah. And so I'm interested to see how if that shift starts to take place. Yeah. Because specialty is growing. Yeah. And more and more people are interested in it. Yeah. And seeing the value in it. And honestly, less and less people in our generation, I've seen some articles that are saying that they are drinking less and less alcohol. And so I think that it could fill a similar societal use as far as like just socializing. Yeah. So I'm interested to see where that goes, but I would love to have more and more places where I can, if I want to, get a $12 shot of espresso. Yeah. That's just fantastic.
I think there's room for all of it. Kind of like it is now at specialty cafes. You can get your approachably priced coffee, or you can get your coffee that is from this world-renowned farmer, and they should be celebrated for their efforts to make a world-class coffee. But that's not to say that the coffees that are lower priced are farmers that are being taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. They can still be paid a good amount of money for their coffee. Yeah, but it's not an award-winning coffee. Just like there are lower quality wines and higher quality wines that, at least you would hope that the lower quality wines isn't necessarily taking advantage of people who grow and pick the grapes, but that it's just
less effort is put in.
Less effort is put in, and that's not
in order to make it cheaper.
Thing. I still I don't want to drink a $12 cup of coffee every single day. I'm
not made of money.
Yeah. Well, it's also makes it more special when it's not something you can have all the time. Yeah. Because there's never going to be enough coffee to go around of these world-renowned coffees. And if there is enough, then they're not going to be as high priced because there's not that scarcity that goes with it. Yeah. But, I think there's room for everything without taking advantage of people. Maybe people will drink less coffee because it's less affordable than it used to be.
But would that be a bad thing if people drink less coffee?
Real. You tell us. Would you be a bad person if you drank less coffee?
Are you a bad person now? Do people generally not enjoy you? And because you're kind of mean.
What's the minimum cups of coffee you need to be a good person? And why are we measuring this based on coffee? This is
crazy. Why do you feel like you can't be a good person without having coffee? It's kind of messed up.
Why have you trained yourself in such a way that you cannot operate without coffee?
Don't talk to me until I've had my coffee.
And why do we romanticize it?
I don't. It's not cute.
No, not really.
No.
But I get it.
Sort of.
But like,
sleep
maybe wait a little. Yeah, sleep more. Wait a little longer before you drink your cup of coffee.
Spend a little bit less time on your phone. Go to bed a little earlier.
This has changed to the life advice section of the podcast.
Read a book. When's the last time you've read a book?
Where Nick
it's
and Jack
super good for your brain.
Give you life tips.
Eat your green vegetables.
Yeah, eat the stalks of the broccoli. Good for you, as well as the head. It's great.
Eat broccoli uncooked.
It's
fresh broccoli is good.
And if you're going to steam it, drink the water too.
That's gross. I'll tell you what, I do not like steamed broccoli.
No, but
steamed broccoli is one of the worst ways to have broccoli, I think.
Yeah,
it's like, what if we made it hot? And I'm glad that you agree with me because I've talked to so many people and they disagree with me.
Hot and flavorless.
It's disgusting.
Okay. I like
fresh
broccoli better than fresh.
Fresh broccoli is delicious.
Don't steam it.
Roasted broccoli is delicious.
Yes.
Oven roasted or like in a pan.
Olive oil on there.
Olive oil, salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, right? That's good.
Don't have to dip your vegetables in ranch because you're kind of defeating the purpose.
Ranch is not good for you.
No, it's not.
I love ranch.
Me too.
I eat so much ranch. It's not good for you. Don't be what's the word?
I don't know.
Diluted. Don't be diluted into believing that ranch is good for you.
No, it's like when you think of, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to eat a salad. And then you proceed to add bacon, ham, croutons,
that in ranch dressing.
Ranch. The green lettuce has been far outweighed by the unhealthy stuff you put in there.
Not
to say that stuff is not good for you, but everything in moderation.
I hate croutons. Why are they in a salad?
I like croutons. I'm
so anti-crouton.
Why?
It's like, okay, let's design this entire meal to be easily eaten with a fork. And then we're going to put these in here that are impossible to stab.
I agree with that.
I don't like croutons.
I don't know. I love croutons.
They're too
love
crunchy.
A crunch.
They hurt your mouth.
You just have weak teeth.
No, they don't hurt my teeth. My teeth are bones. They hurt like my gums.
Your teeth can hurt. They have a lot of nerves in there.
But on the inside, I don't have any cavities or anything. Yeah.
No? You sure?
Pretty sure.
Right.
Anyway, I don't like croutons. Sure. Honestly, a lettuce-heavy salad. Why do you guys feel like the only leafy green that you can eat is lettuce?
Also, lettuce is like nothing.
It's like it's mostly water.
Yeah. Show some spinach in there.
Guys.
Throw some cucumber. Show some broccoli if you're brave.
Arugula.
Bell peppers.
Bell peppers are fire. Onions?
You guys are missing out on.
Do you guys know that salads don't just have to be just lettuce and ranch dressing? You can put so much stuff in a salad.
Yeah.
It can be like half meat. You can have half grilled chicken.
I used to not like salad because they took me too long to eat. I love salad, but it took me too long to eat. It's just, and there's something wrong with me, I think, because of how fast I like to eat things.
Yeah.
Because, and I think I've told you this before, but I like eating. I just don't like how long it takes. It's just like eating is just inconvenient.
Yeah.
It's just like my hands, especially if it's a hand food, even though I like eating food with my hands, it's just, my hands are messy. I can't do anything else but eat. And
eating slowly is better for your body. Eat more salads.
Says who?
What?
Who?
It's
eating
most 9 out of 10 dentists and doctors. Look it up. Eating dentists. All the same dentists that recommend Colgate. It is better for your gastrointestinal system to consume food more slowly.
They also recommend you brush your teeth with formaldehyde. So
formaldehyde is good for preserving.
Fluoride, I think that's the one.
Yeah. Okay, that's us.
I don't know.
Formaldehyde is good for helps
preserve
dead things.
And probably living things too.
It probably would.
Yeah.
I don't know if it'd keep them alive though.
Well, what it does is it keeps things from decomposing. So you don't want your alive self to decompose, do you?
You know, formaldehyde smells really bad.
I sleep in a vat of formaldehyde every night.
Is that like a back to tank?
No, I don't. But you said it smells really bad?
Yeah.
I never smelled it before. What color is it?
I feel like it's like clear, and I've always seen it a little yellow, but I don't know if that's just because of the pig heart that's in it. But
what?
Yeah, dissected pig hearts or dead fish or
was
frogs.
this at school or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I brought that heart home to dissect, to further dissect it. Oh, there's a spare
never
heart that I brought home to show my
dissected any
siblings.
animals. Because I was homeschooled.
Yeah. Well, you could have gotten your hands on one.
Yeah, no, we could have. I think that was something we were going to do. We just never got around to it. So
Yeah.
we did other like science experiments, but just not dissecting animals.
It's gross. But
yeah,
it's also
I
cool.
can't imagine it's gross, but it's probably worthwhile.
Yeah.
To do.
Just check it out.
Yeah, to be like, wow, that's gross.
Yeah.
Fire.
Wow. All right.
We went off track there, but were we really on track to begin with?
There wasn't a lot of track. It was more of like a road.
Yeah.
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 Just paved.
Nothing wrong
Paved
with
over.
open road,
It's just, yeah. Life is a highway.
It's
And I'm going to ride it.
life is a
all night long.
highway.
Okay, so there was something else you want to talk about outside of that.
Yes.
Right?
Was there?
I think so.
Did I?
You had two things.
Was this on the list, or was this something I said that I forgot about? Oh yes, the meeting with Rwandan producers. I wrote on.
Yeah, tell me
our
about
list.
that.
So I was going to talk about this last episode, but we ran out of time. But this is the first time I've ever met. It was via not Zoom. I think it was Google Meets or whatever.
Definitely wasn't Skype.
That was not Skype.
Rip.
Or Microsoft Teams. I think Microsoft Teams is probably my least favorite video conferencing app. But that's besides the point. I met with Kenny, a Rwandan producer. I don't think he actually grows coffee, but he produces coffee as far as producing, meaning processing coffee at origin. He works in Rwanda for the most part. He's between there and the United States. I cannot remember exactly where in the United States, but somewhere. So I had a call with Kenny and Phil from 1 Acre Fund. They do a lot of work in Rwanda, not just in coffee, but about in a lot of crops that get grown there to kind of highlight farms. I believe they're a nonprofit organization who I would be surprised if they're not, but anyway, they help provide resources for people who grow things in different countries. There's a lot of different countries. Rwanda is one of their prominent ones. We've gotten coffees from them before. The Dukundakawa, Washed and Natural, and the Ngoma that we have. Super delicious coffees, which we will be getting both the Dukundakawas again because they are so good.
Nice.
And they are actually, they're not plagued by the potato taster's defect as much as a lot of other Rwandans.
Pretty little. I haven't.
That's why
I don't know if I've personally noticed it in them.
Yeah, that's why I've reserved those coffee because it's not very often that you come across great Rwandan coffees that aren't plagued by this. So reserve those again, and he'll be sending us another sample from Rwanda. I actually told him about my dad's experience with having that one Rwanda coffee in 2014 that changed his life. And even though I couldn't have a lot of information to give him, he said he was going to try to find us a coffee like that. That would blow your mind. So super excited for the samples he'll send us and those coffees. We still have some of the Dukundakawas, but it won't be long before they're gone. So. Yeah. But yeah, it was my first time meeting a producer from another country. So it's a great experience, and I look forward to doing more of that virtually and in person too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
I mean, there's a number of farmers that we work with on a pretty regular basis that I think would be great for us to actually be able to talk to, even if it's just over video conference.
Yep. It helps bring like a better understanding of the coffee and more personal. Mm-hmm. It's easier to promote this coffee, talk about this coffee, and enjoy the coffee itself when you know more about what's going on. Because you can only get so much from just reading the little blurb that they give you, the importers give you, which is always great, but it's nice to have that personal touch.
Yeah, I mean, it's, knowing the person that made something that you're enjoying, it just makes a difference.
Yeah.
Right? Not this is a direct comparison, but like a home cooked meal versus at a restaurant. Real. Like the person made it for you to enjoy with intention.
You can tell when something is like made with love, to not sound what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know.
Cheesy, corny.
Yeah, cheesy, corny. But like it's true. You can, and it really helps to meet the person,
Yeah, and just like the passion and the drive behind it, and their desire for what the hard work that they've done.
Yeah.
Just being able to connect with the people that are enjoying it. I'm sure is very cool for them as well.
I enjoy things more when I can get behind them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it helps you get behind something when you know the person who's producing it. You know, you can see the excitement. You can see that they love what they're doing and they're excited to come back at it next year with a different processing method or a different thing that they're going to try out, which is always great.
Yeah. Well, that builds commitment too on our side to the farm.
Yeah.
It's like, I've met this farmer. I know what he cares about. I know like what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah.
I know how passionate they are.
I could be excited about these coffees and be excited about next year's crop and get our wholesale partners excited about this next year's crops. And we can all come in and taste this coffee and it can be just a great experience. And yeah.
And that's how long-term partnerships are formed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like, I'm bought into what this person is doing.
Real. Yep.
You know, and it might not even be the best coffee in the world. You know, like there are probably better coffees. There's always a better coffee, you know.
Grass is always greener.
The grass is always greener. But just being bought into what somebody's doing and like supporting them and following along with them and growing with them is, I think, something that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sweet.
Yeah.
Did you have anything else you want to?
No, I mean, I hope you guys, when this comes out, the contract has been released.
Oh.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let us know how that was. If you don't know what I'm talking about, get a life.
Get learned.
Get learned. It's been released June 12th, people.
If you don't know what we're talking about, come on. We've mentioned this topic multiple times before.
Yeah. So pretty hyped for that.
Watch all of our episodes up until this one. Then you may know if you're listening. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope we enjoyed that. I hope it changed my life.
I'm sure we did.
It will. It already has. And it's not even out.
It already has.
So, please enjoy that. It's coming out on the 12th, so that will be halfway between now and
Thursday.
when this episode releases. So
it's Thursday.
That's crazy. Maybe we'll have to add a section to the end of this podcast to show ourselves before and after listening to it.
It'll probably look pretty much the same, but
I probably will have a bald head at that point. It'll inspire me so much
so?
that I probably will. I hope I'll have a haircut by then. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like my hair is like really long. I had to do it like the back.
Okay, but I don't think he's shaving his head again. I think it's growing out now. I think it's growing out, Breach, because it's like a victory thing rather than a relapse thing.
No, me.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I don't think it'll.
So you don't want me to shave my head?
I don't
want to shave my head.
I don't think it'll inspire you to shave your head. That's what I'm saying, because Tyler's gonna have his hair grown out more.
It'll inspire me to let it grow
even longer.
Wow. Not even like a trim? You don't think?
No.
That's crazy. Yeah, hopefully a beard by then. I'm trying.
Yeah, maybe. You can maybe get a good Van Dyke going.
Nah.
You know? Could look like a...
Good is not the word I would use.
Like the Seventh Musketeer.
All right. Well, sweet. That's been episode 14.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some cool ideas cooking up for you guys in the future. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, we got a couple of people that we might have on
lined up
pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys have any like topics you want us to tackle, any coffees you want us to taste, any recommendations or anything, let us know.
Yep.
If not, don't.
Yeah.
We don't care.
If you have coffee recommendations, we'll listen to them, but we'll definitely try them if you send it to us.
That's true.
So saying, hey, check out this place. We're like, yeah, okay, I might. But if you send it to us, like, well, it's right in front of me.
So there's that. And we can only drink so much coffee on a single podcast.
And we only have so much money.
That's true. We do. Yeah, we haven't set up a Patreon yet for a coffee. We should set up a coffee fund Patreon and be like,
yeah. Every 6 months, we'll have enough money to buy a bag of coffee.
There's better things you can spend your money on. So, but
yeah, like coffee for yourself.
That's true. Yeah,
get good coffee.
How about you buy some coffee, right? And you're like, okay, I don't need this whole 10-ounce bag. I'm just gonna send you guys some, and I'll keep the rest for myself.
Yeah,
that works too. Yep. All right, thanks for listening, guys. That was episode 14 of the Equal Parts Coffee Podcast. Thanks for listening. We'll see you guys later.
Adios.